What a mess. What a mess of a man. Not all men. Just those ones that are manipulative and maladaptive. There are some that bring a big disgrace to manhood in general. There are some who use their masculine energy to manipulate others. There are some who use their masculinity to be mean and to manage people. If you've ever dealt with a narcissist, a user, a toxic person, or a manipulator, then you know just what I mean. Manipulators can be quite clever, but they don't use their intelligence, their smartness, or their cleverness in the right way. They use it in a devious way. They try to gain an unfair advantage over people. They don't use control or influence in the right way. Manipulators can use charm and flattery to get their way. They use tactics such as guilt trips and playing the victim. They ignore your rights, your feelings, and your boundaries just to get their way. They also engage in a lot of passive-aggressive behavior. And speaking of behavior, narcissists and manipulators are also maladaptive. They engage in a lot of behaviors and thought processes that are counterproductive. They engage in a lot of behaviors and thought processes that are ineffective. They do things that are counterproductive and harmful to both themselves and others. Maladaptive behavior is about finding a temporary relief. They like to relieve their stress short term. In the end, this ends up creating even more problems, and it also hinders their growth. Being a manipulator and a devious person only erodes trust. When you treat a good person poorly, when you try to mess with their head and mess with their mind, when you try to get over on them, all it does is make them look at you in a different light. They decrease the amount of respect that they have for you. They definitely don't trust you. They want to get away from you, and they no longer have the desire to be loyal to you. Manipulation is a very violating thing. You take advantage of a person's trust. You take advantage of their openness towards you, their loyalty. You erode their confidence and you take away their hope for the future. For example, someone like a narcissist, particularly in my case, my ex-narcissist presented the idea of marriage to me because he knew that that's what I wanted. He had no interest in being married. He had no interest in being a faithful husband. He presented this as a way to get what he wanted. He wanted a place to stay. And he felt like the only way that he could get that, since he knew that I was not with shacking up or anything like that, I didn't want a live-in boyfriend, he decided to play into and manipulate the fact that I wanted to be married. I wanted a husband. He pretty much just played along. It's not something he wanted. It was something that he was willing to engage in so that he can get what he wanted. So that he can get his needs met. So that he can get his selfish gains. This kind of behavior only creates more and more problems further down the line. Worse and worse problems further down the line. Once you find out that you have been manipulated, once you find out that the person in front of you that you love dearly is a manipulator, you become instantly disgusted with them. You get into a state of shock and disbelief. You become repulsed at the sight of them. You want nothing to do with them. This is what a manipulator fails to understand. They fail to understand the extent of what their behavior can actually do. They don't understand what a mess their behavior ends up making. Another mess that a manipulator and a narcissist will create is their behavior of being maladaptive. They don't deal with things the way that they should actually deal with them. For instance, they engage in lashing out behavior. This is when narcissists have fits of rage. They go off on you. They cuss you out. They strike you. They hit you. They physically punish you. They lock you into rooms. They close you up in closets. They push you up against walls. They have angry outbursts. I have been pulled by my hair, dragged by my hair. I have been swung around by my hair. I've been subjected to all types of temper tantrums with a narcissist, and this is because they have that maladaptive behavior of lashing out onto people. Instead of controlling themselves, instead of going within, instead of regulating their own behavior, they tend to lash out on people. They tend to make you their personal punching bag. They will take mental jabs at you, emotional jabs at you, spiritual jabs at you, and physical jabs at you. Another maladaptive behavior that the narcissist engaged in was alcohol. My ex-narcissist would drink quite a bit, drink excessively, drink hard brown liquor, expensive bottles of liquor, the most exquisite bottles of alcohol. He would get DUIs on his record. He would come home drunk as a skunk, in a drunken stupor. He would crash into trees. He would vomit and throw up all over the place. He would get sexually violent in his drunken state. And again, this is all maladaptive behavior. This is them acting out in this way when they should be dealing with their own situation. This is them burying their feelings, wallowing in their pain instead of dealing with what's actually bothering them, instead of dealing with their internal traumas and internal demons. They try to wash their pain away with alcohol, and it doesn't work. Another maladaptive behavior that the narcissist engages in is procrastination. They put lots of important things off. Lots of things that they should be doing, they don't do. Things that deserve priority and attention, they don't care about. They procrastinate when it comes to bills, responsibility, and even their health. Being manipulative and maladaptive is very unhealthy behavior. And there are some things that narcissists, toxic people could do to reverse this. One thing would be to go to therapy, to go sit on someone's couch and talk out their issues and get to the root of what's going on with them and what's bothering them. Figure out why they act the way that they act. What caused this? What triggered this? Figure out other ways to cope. Come up with strategies and solutions to fix their life. Another thing that they could do is to practice self-awareness. The problem with manipulation and maladaptive behavior is it's focused on others. It's focused on other people. It's focused on trying to control the outside, trying to control the external. And a lot of times this is because these type of people are afraid to look within. They're afraid to go within. They're afraid to do that self-reflection because there's deep shame. There's a deep wound there. But the thing about it is if they don't engage in therapy, they don't engage in self-reflection, they just keep creating messes all over the place. They jump from one relationship to the next relationship, creating a big pile of mess. They leave a trail of mess everywhere they go. They injure people. They hurt people. They break hearts. They cause all sorts of damage. They are in a lot of pain, but yet they want to just bleed all over everyone else, and they don't want to do anything to fix that pain. They don't want to do anything to heal. We can't afford to allow manipulators and maladaptive people to continue to mess up our lives. Just because they don't want to do anything to fix themselves does not mean that they should be allowed to destroy us. Demons can do damage, and we should definitely stay away from them. We cannot be the actual healer. God is the healer. Can we point people in the right direction? Can we assist them in their healing? Absolutely. But we cannot actually heal them. Only God can do that. Only God can restore. We can't love the manipulation out of someone, and we can't love the maladaptive behavior out of them. We didn't put it there. They have to be the ones to want the help, get the help, and the healing. You can see a person's flaws, you can see a person's pain, and all you can do is pray for them. You can try to talk to them and try to reason with them, but mostly they will not hear you. So you have to let them go. You have to turn them over into the hands of the Lord. I tried my hardest when I was married to the narcissist to get him to go to therapy, both individual therapy and marriage counseling, and he wanted no parts of it. He was totally against it. And what can you do? You have to get to the point to where you can recognize love in its full and true state. Love is not going to manipulate you. Love is not going to engage in maladaptive behavior towards you. Love is not going to make a mess of your life, a mess of your feelings, and a mess of your heart. Get to the point to where you will no longer let a person manipulate you. Get to the point to where you see manipulation for what it is. Decide for yourself that you're not going to allow someone to mess over your love or to mess around with your love. There is only darkness in a manipulator and maladaptive behavior. So walk away from them both and continue to walk into the marvelous light.